Why people don't want enlightenment. 99% of this world, they don't even understand what is enlightenment. They may know or hear or speak of the word enlightenment. But what is enlightenment? Why are people scared of the term? The word enlightenment is as simple as bring in light. Imagine you go into your room and there is no light. What can you see? You can see nothing. It's pitch dark. It's pitch dark. You switch on the light and you can see everything. What is enlightenment? It is switching on the light in our life. But people have heard so many fairy tales about enlightenment. Oh, are you enlightened? They ask. As if being enlightened is being a god. Yes, when you are enlightened, you realize you are God. Enlightenment means we overcome ignorance. It means we realize the truth. Enlightenment is the third and ultimate peak of happiness. Enlightenment is liberation from the triple suffering on earth and rebirth. Free from pain of the body, misery of the mind, agony of the ego. But why people don't want enlightenment? Because either they think it's too difficult, or they don't understand what it truly is, or they don't even know the rewards of enlightenment. Some people think they're already enlightened because they're religious. Oh, I'm enlightened. I go every week to the temple. Is that enlightenment? Little do we realize that we're enveloped in ignorance. We're living a life like a frog in the well. The frog doesn't know there's a world outside. We are living like the caveman who never left the cave. When we go outside the cave, then we see there is a real world out there. People don't want enlightenment because they don't know that enlightenment is the goal. To realize we are the divine soul. People don't want it because they don't realize that enlightenment is peace, the very foundation of happiness. Enlightenment is that state of eternal bliss. When we reach that state of enlightenment, all the darkness disappears and we are living in that light. There is greater happiness. There is much greater happiness in truth consciousness. There is so much bliss, greater than any other happiness. This is enlightenment. What are we thinking? We are thinking happiness is about achievement, success, pleasure, name, fame, money, wealth. This is just the first peak of happiness. The second peak of happiness is contentment that leads to fulfillment. The third peak of happiness is enlightenment. People don't know. What is enlightenment? Can you order enlightenment on Amazon? Can you pick enlightenment in the supermarket? No. Enlightenment is a state of being. You experience it. You are enlightened. When you are enlightened, you are no more ignorant. Now, not only are we ignorant, we are ignorant about our ignorance. And as they say, ignorance is bliss. We think we are living in a state of eternal happiness. But we suffer. Don't we suffer? Pain of the body, misery of the mind, and agony of the ego. Why do we suffer? We suffer because we think we are the body, mind, and ego. What is enlightenment? Enlightenment is liberation. Realizing I am not this body. This body came later. I was born 9 months before as the spark of unique life, the soul in the zygote. Then the body developed over 9 months. One day this body will die and people will say, I passed away. But who passed away? Enlightenment is realizing this. I'm not the body, I am the soul. But why do people not want it? Because people have grown up with the myth. They have lived with it. People have been taught things in school that makes them a fool. We just follow the herd. We don't fly like a bird. We don't explore what is the truth. We don't get to the bottom of the root. Why? Why do people not want enlightenment? Once a saint was asked, why is it that nobody wants enlightenment? He told all the monks who were with him, following him, go and ask in the village, in the nearby villages, go and ask in every home, what do you seek? And come back to me by the evening. The monks went home to home. Somebody told them, I want to get my son married. Somebody told them, I want my field to have better crops. Somebody told them, I want a grandchild. Somebody told them that my wife is suffering from a disease. I want her cured. There was a list of things they wanted. When the saint met the group in the evening, he asked them one question. How many people wanted enlightenment? Not a single person in the village they went to wanted enlightenment. If we don't want enlightenment, how can we get it? We don't want enlightenment because we don't know what it is. We don't realize the purpose of life is to find the purpose of life. The purpose of life is to find out who am I and why am I here. We look at a picture of our school or college and we point out, hey, that's me. That's not me, that's my body. The body is constantly changing. The body was formed over 9 months. One day it's a baby, then grows, it goes to school. A toddler, a teenager, an adult goes old. One day the body dies. After it dies, is it still me? No. People will say, I passed away. Enlightenment is realizing the journey of the soul. Enlightenment is realizing I will never die. Enlightenment is realizing I am not I. And why people don't want enlightenment? Because in thought they are caught. They are slaves of the mind. The mind makes them blind. They are unable to be liberated from ignorance. They are unable to realize the truth. It is important for us to gain enlightenment, but people don't realize. What happens? People live, people die, they don't find out who am I. Then they return to earth in a rebirth. Then they cry, they look at the sky and they ask why. They think, because they have been taught that God lives in the skies, they believe the lies. We need enlightenment. People don't want enlightenment. People want a Mercedes Benz. People want a BMW. People want a beautiful shirt, a pant, gold, jewelry, money, a villa, a holiday. People want pleasure because they have not realized what is the true treasure. People are so lost and they continue what has been continuing for generations. Our parents taught us what their parents taught them, and we will teach our children. And the generations will suffer one after the other. When will we stop to be enlightened? When will we seek enlightenment? When will we walk? When will we want to be enlightened? Oh, I'm too young to be enlightened, somebody told me. Is there an age to be enlightened? The time is now. Today, we must be enlightened, and people don't want enlightenment. Or why people don't want enlightenment? Because they don't realize that enlightenment is what is the goal of life. Our goal of life is to switch on the light. the light of truth. Our goal of life is to overcome the darkness of ignorance. And people don't want enlightenment because they don't know the ecstasy, the euphoria, the bliss that comes in this truth consciousness. Somebody was saying, I like apples, and somebody was saying, I like grapes. And somebody said, I like thrombosis. They asked him, what is thrombosis? He said, that's the most delicious fruit I've had in my life. But the others had never tasted thrombosis. It was an imaginary fruit. But enlightenment is not an imaginary state of bliss. It is a state of true happiness, a state of peace. Because when you overcome ignorance, not only are you free from the triple suffering of body, mind, ego on earth, you're also free from the cycle of death and rebirth. But the fact is that people don't want enlightenment. 1% of humanity goes on a quest. Of that 1% realizes the truth. They are enlightened. And of that small minority, a small tiny fraction reaches the state of salvation, nirvana, moksha, unification. What is enlightenment all about? It is realizing that this body is nothing but molecules that will ultimately become energy. It is realizing we are all manifestations of Sip, the supreme immortal power. When will we realize this truth? When will we realize that we are nothing? Then we become everything. This is enlightenment, but people don't want it. If you tell somebody, there's a bag, you want it? He looks at the dirty bag and says, no, I don't want it. But what if he knows that there's a bag of diamonds inside that? Then he would run after it. There's a beautiful story somebody told me. There were many prisoners who were waiting for the king to give them a sentence. One by one, the prisoners came. The king asked them, would you like to be shot or would you like to go out the door? And the prisoners said, what's out of the door? Each of them asked. The king said, unknown horrors. The prisoners said, shoot me. Shot, dead, shot, dead, shot, dead. One prisoner asked the king, what's on the door? Unknown horrors. The prisoner said, I'll take the door. He opened the door. It was freedom. It was freedom to live a new life. Enlightenment is opening the door and being free from all misery. But unfortunately, people don't want enlightenment. We are so caught in this world. We are attached to pleasures, people, possessions. We are prisoners. We have created a prison because of our ignorance. When will we seek enlightenment? When will we go in quest of the truth? When will we switch on the light within to realize we are not this body? Have you ever seen the mind? Where is the mind? You cannot find. Enlightenment is realizing the ego is a false identity. Enlightenment is coming to terms that I am a spark of unique life. I am a soul. I am a soul. You are a soul. We all are part of Sip, the supreme immortal power. But still, why people don't want enlightenment? Because they don't know where to get it. There are not enough spiritual masters, mentors, gurus who are giving people the right path to seek enlightenment. People don't know how to be enlightened. People don't even know the importance of enlightenment. People just live and die without realizing who am I, without being enlightened. Then they return to earth in a rebirth. People don't want enlightenment because people don't know that enlightenment is the goal. to realize we are the soul. When will we start our journey? When will we go on a quest to find out who am I, why am I here? What is the purpose of this birth on earth? Only the human being is blessed with an intellect. Only the human being can live in that state of consciousness. Only the human being has the willpower to choose. A dog or a frog, a butterfly, a bee or a tree cannot be enlightened. We have an opportunity, but we don't want this opportunity. So if you are one of those who hasn't started the journey to seek enlightenment, the time to start is now. Start your journey to seek enlightenment today. Find out the purpose of your life. Who are you? And why are you here? And you will be that rare minority who will live a life of eternal bliss, everlasting peace, and divine love. For you would have discovered that state called as enlightenment.